Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Good morning, everybody. It's Brooklyn. I hope that you're having a fantastic week. Welcome to all of our new subscribers, and thank you everybody for pushing play on another episode. It's so exciting to do this podcast. You know, I just love it so much, and I'm pleased that you do too. And today, what I want to share with you is in the Australian Counsellors in Private Practice online group. Last month, we had our theme month of money mindset, and as you have already heard, we've had some great results from that. What's happening this month, so we're in July now, is we're having a focus on visibility. So I'm asking everybody questions about the challenges with visibility and things like that. And every day I'm going to be posting a little tip on how to improve visibility in your private practice, like why you need to, how you can do it easily, all that sort of stuff, right? You know, I love it so much. But something else that I love so much is my cards. Like I love working with cards like oracle cards and tarot cards and things like that. And as you know, I've got a collection of so many. They're the best. And anyway, I thought today what I might do is use my cards to give us a fresh perspective on visibility and what you might be going through with your visibility in your private practice. And maybe this can help me as your host today unlock some things in my mind that maybe aren't readily available to me in my conscious awareness. Because what I'm going to be doing is looking at the pictures that come up on the cards and then try to interpret them accordingly for you. So I don't know where this episode is going to go. Thank you very much for joining me on this fun excursion into the subconscious mind. Let's get started. Okay, so I've pulled 8 cards, and you know what? I only had 4 or 5 questions that I wanted to ask, but if you've been following me for a while and you're in my groups, you'll know that I pull cards until I feel like the story has concluded. So I felt like I needed to pull a few extra. And the other thing is I wait until the cards have sort of jumped out of the pile at me. I'm not one of those people who cuts cards and then just turns the first one over. That's never been my style. I love to shuffle and just wait for one to sort of jump up and be seen, and I grab it. So that's what I've done. And so what I'm going to do is just start at the beginning, and we're just going to see how the story unfolds. And I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts on how you might have interpreted these cards for yourself. So the first card, to give you an idea, looks like it's a little girl. Maybe she's in prep or grade 1, and she's standing up on a table, and there are older people around her. Look like parents and aunts and uncles and grandmothers and grandfathers and things like that. And they're all pointing at her and laughing, and she's kind of looking down and she's looking quite forlorn. And I think this card is so relevant when it comes to us being visible, especially as women in private practice. And to me, this card represents sort of an innocence, a naivety. This is such a young girl. She's clearly innocent and clearly doesn't know everything. In fact, she's probably still learning, and she's probably still growing up and finding her feet in the world. And, you know, here she is trying to do her very, very best. And what's happening is older, more experienced people around her are actually kind of pointing to her and making her a bit of an example, or they're making her feel a bit bad about herself. And you know what, I don't know about you, but I do see this happen in some of our groups, don't you? And that's why I went and created my own group, so it doesn't, we've got a space where it doesn't happen. But I think that's what's going on there. It's this genuine fear of, trying to be good, but not really knowing what you need to be doing, and, getting poked fun of in the meantime. So I think that's probably a fair representation of where a lot of us have been, or maybe are currently. And the second card is different. It's a little boy. He's maybe, 10 or 11 years old, and he's at school, and there are other kids behind him. One's a boy behind him, and he's thrown an apple at this little boy, and the apple's bouncing off his head. And there's two girls, and they're whispering and laughing behind his back. And this little boy's sort of got glasses on, and he's trying to protect himself. He's hunched over, and he's kind of hugging himself, and his knees are bent, and he's got red hair, and he's looking really like afraid and fearful. And to me, I think this is really representative of that part of us that can feel like, what if we get bullied, or what if we get heckled, or what if we get laughed at, or what if we do the wrong thing and we're ostracized? And I can absolutely relate to that, because as you know, that happened to me. And so I don't know what you might think of that card, but that's what's sort of coming through. It's that fear of, what if this happens and nobody likes me, and I'm out on my own, I'm in this corner by myself, and yet there's no one here to really protect me. In terms of, finding a card that can help us understand perhaps what needs to happen differently. The card that's come out is a picture of, she's a mother. I assume she's a mother. She's holding a baby, and this mother is in a bedroom. She's wearing a blue dressing gown, and she's got a little baby that's wrapped up in a yellow blanket, and she's nursing the baby, and the baby looks really content. The mother looks really content. There's a black and white cat that's curled up next to the mother and the baby, and they're sitting on a pink bed, and there's pink curtains and blue walls, and there's a really beautiful mat. It's a white mat with some pink flowers with green leaves, and the mum's wearing some comfy slippers. And outside the window in the bedroom, I can see a nest with a bird, feeding its baby birds some worms and things like that. So this is a really calming picture, and what comes through for me is that feeling of comfort and that feeling of protection and safety. Like, I'm identifying here with the part of my mind that's identifying with this card is the baby, feeling wrapped up, feeling safe in its mother's arms, feeling really protected, and just really cozy and comfortable. And in terms of what we as women may need to support us in becoming more visible is finding that protection for ourselves, finding a way to be visible that also feels safe and nourishing and nurturing, and just like you don't need to be afraid of anything. That's what needs to be different. And I think, what stands out, or what really started this conversation in the first place around some of us having trouble with our visibility was, I think we were just going along our own business. We're just minding our own business, starting our private practices or already in our private practices. And you know what? Maybe we were new grads. The card that's come out is a lady who is, I think she's walking on university grounds. It looks like university grounds. It says university on the card. She's just wearing blue t-shirt, blue jeans, some runners. She's carrying some books. She's got a backpack on. She's whistling away, and she's listening to some music. And you know what? This could absolutely represent the start of a journey, and it may represent a new grad, or it may represent someone who's new to private practice. And I think that, when you're first new and you're just starting, you don't know what you don't know, and you might have an understanding of how to conduct the therapy, and you might be feeling really confident and competent with conducting the actual therapy with the client, having those sessions, but you don't know about the business side of private practice. And so you're just kind of going along, whistling along, feeling like you've got this knowledge under your arm, only to find out, hey, actually, I don't know how to market my practice. So I think that's probably the precursor to us experiencing this, all this inner stuff of, fear around being seen, fear around being heckled, fear around being ostracized, fear around not knowing enough, and fear around being perhaps even bullied if you go out on a limb and you want to stand for something, and really needing to find that way for yourself that feels really comforting and really self-assured. And so, there's another card that I've pulled here, and it's an older lady. I can't even guess how old she is. I was going to say older lady, right? But I'm 46. I was going to say she looks about 55. I thought I better not say that because I feel like I'm approaching that. And I want to be respectful to everybody. So anyway, this lady, she's not a teenager, and she's not elderly. She's sort of in the middle of her life, let's say. She's she's sitting in a dark room and she's smoking cigarette, I think, because there's smoke coming up. She's sitting with a old-fashioned movie projector, and we see her side on, so we can't see what she's watching, but there are reels of films strewn around her. And in the front of the card, there's a trap door, that you can use to get through the floor there, and it says good memories, but over the top of the good memories, there's a red circle with a line through it, like banning or blocking something. And she's looking a bit disheveled. She's looking like she just can't believe what she's watching. She's kicked off one shoe. The other shoe's they're slip-on shoes. She's kicked one off, and the other one, the heel is hanging out and the toe is still in the shoe. And she's got, cigarette in one hand, and the other hand is sort of up to her head. It's just sort of saying, oh my goodness. And she's got I think it's a can of Coke. It's a red can of drink near her as well. So I'm looking at this card and I'm thinking, what does this mean for us in terms of visibility? And I just wonder, what could be going through her mind right now. Obviously, they're not good memories. They're not fantastic memories, and they've had an impact on her as an adult. And so I guess I'm just wondering if something may have happened to the lady in this card around being visible when she was a lot younger. Maybe, when we talk about the masculine and the feminine energy, the feminine wants to be seen and she wants to be heard. So the feminine energy can be that part of us that wants to engage in the arts, that wants to put on the dance for our parents, that wants to sing for our parents, and our family, wants to put on shows and wants to do dress ups and all of that sort of stuff. But if that part of you was squashed, if you were told, stop singing, keep the noise down and all this sort of stuff, well, you become conditioned to behave in certain ways in order to get approved of and loved and to feel worthy and good enough. And I'm just wondering if maybe this lady in the card is reflecting on perhaps how her behavior was shaped as a little child. And, I believe that what you experience as a child, how that shapes you, if that's how you end up behaving, that's how you end up behaving as an adult until you start doing some of this inner work. So I'm just wondering if she's reflecting on that, and maybe she didn't do the inner work and she's sitting there going, oh my gosh, I can see it all now, clear as day. Like, I can see why I had so much trouble being visible. I was worried that if I did have a voice, that I'd be told to be quiet, or I'd be told nobody wants to know what I think, or my opinion doesn't matter because I'm just a kid, or something like that. So perhaps if you have trouble with visibility, perhaps this card is asking you to track back to when you were young yourself and really think about, what was going on for you? What was the reaction of, friends and family around you when you wanted to be seen and when you wanted to be heard, whether you wanted to have an opinion, share your thoughts on something, sing and dance, put on productions. I'm just giving you some random examples, but you get the idea. Okay, so picking a card for, kind of tapping into that part of us that's going to give us some insight into what needs to happen next is really, really interesting, because the card that's come out is it's a man, and he's in, it looks to me to be like a rainforest or a jungle almost. He looks like a warrior. He's very tan skin. He has sort of tattoos on his chest, but they're tribal. He's got, I want to say, long black hair. It comes down above his belly button, maybe to the bottom of his rib cage. Around his waist, he has a cloth. He's very muscular. He's got very muscular arms, very muscular legs, and he's standing sort of with his head down, but his eyes pointing up at us, if you can imagine that. And his hands are his arms are out, sort of out from his legs, but not fully out to shoulder height, just sort of out to his legs. And his hands are in the shape of like claws, like he's going to fight, like he's going to claw. And there's a grit on his face. His sort of mouth is in that let's go. He looks like he's ready for battle. He's in the jungle, as I said. There's a lot of greenery around him, but on a tree branch behind him, there's an orange-coloured snake that's sort of wrapped around a tree, and it's just behind him. And on his right, on our left, there's a little monkey in a tree that's kind of watching him. Down on the ground below, there's another critter. I want to say it's some kind of like Komodo dragon or something. And the light is shining on him with the shadow behind him. So it's a really, really beautiful picture. And when I see this picture, what comes to my mind is like a readiness to take action. It's a readiness to face whatever might be coming. And it's that level of confidence. I think this man is very, very confident in terms of proceeding. And he's feeling confident because he's prepared, he's in great shape. And you can see he has a good mental attitude. Like he's just ready to go in and take that stand. And I think that's something that a lot of women can really struggle with sometimes, getting okay with being ready to share their voice. And I guess this card is calling me to ask you to reflect on what would need to shift for you in terms of you feeling ready to share your voice. What preparation would you need to do for mind, body, and spirit in order to get into that place where it feels safe and where you feel okay handling people's comments that might not be in alignment with yours or might not be in agreement with yours. The way that I handle that is I believe wholeheartedly that it's essential for your success, not just in private practice. I teach it for private practice, but in life, in business, in every aspect of your life, I think it's absolutely essential that you do have something to believe in, that you do, and for me, that's the message. And my message is that it's essential to integrate the spiritual with the physical. I think we absolutely need to not only look at our policies and our procedures and things like that, the machinations of business, but I think we also need to see whether or not what we're doing and it aligns with our values and our core purpose and our soul's voice, our soul's message. And when things feel uncomfortable or they feel icky, that's a clue to you that something is out of alignment, and this is an opportunity for you to figure out what would feel better. And so, we talk about this before in other episodes, but money is a big one in private practice. A lot of us want to do the therapeutic work, but we don't feel so comfortable putting the business hat on and wanting to help our clients, and we don't feel so comfortable in terms of asking for payment, following up payment, chasing bad debt, releasing bulk billing. A lot of you undercharge and over deliver because we've got that wounded feminine going on. And so I think this card is really asking you to anchor into your message. It's to really, really know and believe wholeheartedly, 100% in what you're doing, and to have that unshakable faith, and to be okay with people not agreeing with you. And it's totally fine for people to not agree with you. And it's, that that's nothing personal. It's just that they're different and they have different beliefs and they have different values. And it's understanding that that's okay. And there's room at the table for everyone. And I think what becomes available to your audience, to potential clients, as a result of you being more comfortable sharing your message, is, the next card. And the next card shows women, mostly women. I think it's women and children, but teenage children. The card is a monochromatic, and it looks like all these people, there's a group of them, they're emerging from a cave, and within the cave it's this really dark shadow, and outside of the cave it's light, and it's like they have light shining onto them, and they're all looking at that light, and they're starting to stand up, and some of them are starting to walk toward it. And I think this is such a beautiful card, because it's telling me anyway that when you get comfortable to share your message and you become visible, you're going to shine a light out. So people who are in their shadows, people who are in their caves, are going to be able to see you, and they're going to feel inspired. They're going to feel safe to slowly and slowly and slowly emerge from their cave and come over and find you. And what that looks like in practical 3D terms is they're going to start listening. They're going to start reading your posts. They're going to start reading your blog, listening to your videos, listening to your podcast, doing all of those things. And it's going to be, for them, it's going to be a matter of slowly, because they've been in this cave for such a long time. So I think the lesson here for you is to remember that you can start your visibility work today, but you're not going to get results tomorrow, because it's nothing to do with you. All you have to do is show up, and show up consistently. You have to keep that light on for them, because as soon as you turn it off, as soon as you go AWOL from your social, or as soon as you go AWOL from your marketing, that light turns off, and they're going to retreat to their cave, right? Metaphoric cave. But by you keeping that light going, keeping that fire going, you're giving them something to work toward, and they're going to take time to come out of that cave, because they're in that cave for a reason. They're hiding. And we hide when we're afraid, or when we feel like it's not safe. So they're going to come out gradually, slowly over time. And this is absolutely what happens. And this is why we say in business, generally you don't see conversions from your marketing happen for about 90 days. Now, I believe you can absolutely get that a much more rapid result, and that's for a whole other episode, but that's more about your energy and the energy that you bring to things. I think people are absolutely attracted to your energy, but you get the message of this card. So the message of this card is it's going to take time, because your audience needs to trust you in order to count on you to turn up at the same time every week or every month, but in order to trust your message, in order to get to know you. And then from there, they're going to start spreading the word and telling more and more people as they feel safer and safer. So it's a long-term game. This is saying be visible, but don't expect immediate results, because there is a trust factor. And then the outcome card is just, again, I think it's just a perfect card for this reading today for you. It's a picture of somebody standing on top of the world, and above so it's two circles, right? The circles are the same size, and one sitting on top of the other. The top one is yellow, reminds me of the sun or the moon, and there's little yellow stars around it, and underneath it's the world. And there's a person dancing and holding, I think it's a flower, but I don't have my glasses on. What was I saying about age again? Yes, it is. It's a flower. I think it's a rose. And anyway, this person's dancing, they're clearly dancing. There's movement in this picture. They're smiling, they're happy. And I mean, what would this card represent to you? I mean, to me, it's like the world's their oyster. It's like, they're finally being seen. They're finally making that impact that they want, that's beyond themselves, that's bigger than them. They can have an impact now that goes beyond their community. And especially if they're doing something online, you can absolutely have an impact that reaches other countries, just like this podcast reaches other countries. And, it's amazing. Just, what? There are subscribers that I've got from Iceland and Greenland. Can you believe that? And Russia. I mean, who'd have thought? Hi, Russia. Hi, Iceland. Hi, Greenland. Thank you for being here. But I mean, who'd have thought? I'm just somebody from Melbourne, Australia, doing a little podcast in a study or by herself. And I never thought my podcast was going to have this reach. But this card shows me that when you find your voice and you feel safe and you keep with it for a while, that you're going to be able to increase your reach, help more people, have the impact that you want, and you too can feel like you're dancing on top of the world. And now what a beautiful outcome that is. And I hope that you really, 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 really got a lot out of this reading today. I love doing it for you. And you know what? This is just another example of how you can integrate a more spiritual practice. I mean, here we're talking about archetypes, and I'm just giving you a reading from what comes through for me, from my subconscious when I look at these archetypes. You might see something different, but isn't it interesting to see how we can draw upon some of those Jungian principles in our cards to help us gain insights that we might not have considered when it comes to private practice? And it's just, I love it so much. Do you love it too? I hope you do. If you want me to do a reading for you, let me know. I do readings for women in private practice, and it doesn't have to be about your business. It can be about something else. And you would actually do the reading. I will work with you to draw the cards and everything, and we can do it together. It might be a little bit of fun. So anyway, I hope this was really beneficial. I hope you take a message away from this. I hope that you loved it. If you do, please like this episode. If you'd like to join Australian Counsellors in Private Practice, please do. And for those of you who are still interested in joining the Private Practice with Soul class, you have 24 hours left to do that. So the link is going to be in the show notes. I hope you have a really beautiful day and enjoyed this episode so much. Thank you for being here. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.